The alien warlord's claws dug into Captain Jake Morrison's throat as the bridge of the human frigate Valiant collapsed around them. Sparks rained from severed conduits. Bodies of his crew lay scattered across twisted metal. "Your species ends today," the Kragith commander hissed, its 4 eyes gleaming with victory. Through the shattered viewport, Jake watched his fleet burning. 17 ships gone. The defense of Proxima Station had failed. Jake's vision blurred. Blood filled his mouth. He thought of Lieutenant Maya Chen down in engineering, probably already dead. The woman who'd held his face in her hands 3 nights ago and whispered those words he'd thought were just pillow talk. "If you die, I'll burn the galaxy." He'd laughed. Kissed her. Called her dramatic. The Kragith's grip tightened. Jake's consciousness flickered. Then every screen on the bridge that still functioned erupted with the same image. Maya's face. Alive. Her eyes weren't warm anymore. They were cold fire. "Release him," her voice boomed through every speaker, every communication channel across the battlefield. The Kragith froze. "I am Lieutenant Maya Chen of the Terran Engineering Corps. You have 10 seconds to let Captain Morrison go." The warlord's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Or what? Human insect? Or I activate Protocol Nightfall." Jake's blood turned to ice. Protocol Nightfall was a myth. A theoretical weapon so catastrophic that High Command had forbidden even research into it. Antimatter cascade weaponization, chain reaction stellar ignition, the kind of thing that ended civilizations. "Bluff," the Kragith snarled. 5 seconds, Maya said. Behind her on the screen, Jake could see it now. She stood in the Valiant's reactor room, but it looked wrong. Modified. Rebuilt into something that shouldn't exist. "You're insane," the Kragith breathed. 3 seconds? "I've already input the Kragitha home system coordinates. 12 billion of your people. Gone. Then your colonies. Then every star system you've ever touched. The other races will stop you." 2 seconds. "Let me be clear. I don't want to rule the galaxy. I don't want to save it. I just want him to breathe. Everything else can burn." The warlord's claws trembled against Jake's neck. Around them, the Kragith fleet began receiving transmissions. Their high command screaming orders. Retreat. Withdraw. Sensors confirmed it. Maya had actually done it. Built the impossible. "Last chance," Maya whispered. The claws released. Jake collapsed, gasping. The Kragith commander backed away. Terror in all 4 eyes. "You humans are monsters," it said. Maya's face on the screen smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. "No," she said softly. "I'm just a woman who keeps her promises." The Kragith fleet jumped to hyperspace. All of them. Emergency retreat? Jake stared at the screen, at the woman who just held an entire civilization hostage for his life. "Maya," he croaked, "tell me you didn't actually—" "Engineering out," she said, and the screens went dark. Jake pulled himself up using a broken console, his hands shaking. The bridge was a graveyard. Smoke curled through the emergency lighting. He stepped over Ensign Harris, checked for a pulse he knew wouldn't be there, and stumbled toward the corridor. The ship's internal comms crackled to life. "All remaining crew. This is Lieutenant Chen. Captain Morrison is alive. Kragith forces have retreated. Medical teams to the bridge immediately." Her voice was steady, professional, like she hadn't just threatened to ignite a dozen star systems. Jake half ran, half fell through the destroyed corridors toward engineering. His throat burned where the Kragith's claws had punctured skin. Around him, the Valiant groaned like a dying animal. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Reactor containment at 40%. They'd be lucky if the ship lasted another hour. He passed Lieutenant Commander Paul Richards, organizing rescue teams. The man's left arm hung useless, broken in 3 places, but he was still barking orders. He grabbed Jake's shoulder. "Captain, the fleet." "I know," Jake said. "Get the wounded to the escape pods. Abandon ship in 20 minutes. "Sir, Chen said 20 minutes, Paul." "That's in order." Jake kept moving. Down 6 levels, through corridors where the gravity plating flickered on and off. He found Maya exactly where he expected her. Engineering had been completely gutted. Every safety regulation violated. Every failsafe removed. She'd torn out the primary reactor core and rebuilt it into something that looked like a bomb wrapped in a weapon wrapped in a nightmare. She stood at the central console, her hands flying across holographic displays. Her uniform was burned in places. Blood streaked her face. She didn't look up when he entered. "You need medical attention," Jake said quietly. "In a minute, I'm shutting down the cascade sequence. If I don't do this in the right order, we'll vaporize everything within 3 light years." Jake felt his stomach drop. "You're serious? You actually built it." "I told you I would." Maya's fingers danced across the controls. 3 years ago when we first met, you asked what I'd been working on before joining the fleet. I lied. Said weapons optimization. Truth was, I'd already mapped the theoretical framework for stellar cascade ignition. High Command found out. Gave me a choice. Burn my research and join the military, or face execution for crimes against sentient life. Maya, I burned the official copies. Kept everything up here. She tapped her temple. Told myself I'd never use it, that it was too dangerous, too insane. She finally looked at him. Her eyes were wet. Then I fell in love with an idiot who keeps throwing himself at aliens twice his size. The Krageth was choking me to death and you threatened genocide. Yes. 12 billion lives. Yes. You would have done it. Maya's hands stopped moving. She turned to face him fully. Jake, I spent 70 to 8 hours rebuilding our reactor core while you fought that battle. I rerouted antimatter streams. I bypassed every safety protocol ever written. I created a weapon that could crack a star open like an egg. And when I activated it, when I sent that transmission, I wasn't bluffing. If that thing had killed you, I would have burned their home system first. Then their colonies. Then I would have hunted down every Krageth in the galaxy and turned their suns into bombs. The silence between them felt heavy enough to collapse into a black hole. That's not you, Jake said. You save lives. You fix things. I fix things for you. For us. For the people I love. She turned back to her console. The rest of the galaxy? I don't care if it burns, Jake. I really don't, and that should terrify you more than any alien ever could. Jake moved closer. He could see the schematics on her screens now. Mathematical formulas that look like madness given form. She'd actually solved it. The impossible equation, how to weaponize a star. How many people know what you built? He asked. Just you and me. The crew saw modifications, but not the full design. High Command will figure it out when they review our logs, but by then we'll be in deeper trouble than we've ever been in before. Maya smiled without humor. Probably. An explosion rocked the ship. Emergency klaxons screamed. The lights went red. Hull breach on deck 2. Paul's voice crackled over comms. Captain, we're losing structural integrity fast. We need to evacuate now. Jake hid his comm badge. Copy that. All hands to escape pods. This is a total evacuation order. What about Chen's device? Paul asked. Jake looked at Maya. She was already pulling data chips from the console, wiping the systems clean. Destroy it, Jake said. Vent the entire engineering section to space. Nothing survives. Sir, do it. Maya grabbed his arm. The Krageth will regroup. They'll come back with everything they have. We'll need... No, Jake said firmly. We won't. Because we're not them. We don't win by becoming monsters. Even if it means we lose? Even then. She stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded and activated the purge sequence. Engineering began to depressurize. They had 90 seconds. They ran. The escape pod launched with a violent kick that slammed Jake against the restraints. Through the tiny viewport, he watched the Valiant tear itself apart. Explosions rippled along the hull. Engineering vented into space in a brilliant flash of white as the antimatter containment finally failed. The ship folded in on itself like paper in a fire. 17 other pods scattered from the wreckage. 23 survivors from a crew of 200. The numbers made Jake's chest tight. Maya sat across from him, silent. Her eyes tracked the debris field where their ship used to be. Command will ask questions, she said quietly. Let them ask. The pod's emergency beacon pulsed. Help would come, eventually. They drifted in the dark with nothing but emergency rations and the slowly fading heat from the life support systems. Hours passed. Jake's throat throbbed. Maya cleaned his wounds with the pod's medical kit, her hands gentle despite everything. Neither of them spoke about what she'd built, what she'd threatened. The rescue came from an unexpected direction. A massive ship dropped out of hyperspace. Not human, not Kragath. The design was sleek, crystalline, wrong in ways that made Jake's instincts scream. The Velari Concordat, one of the oldest civilizations in known space, neutral in every conflict. Observers, judges. Their tractor beam locked onto all 18 escape pods simultaneously. "This is Arbiter Kellenth of the Velari ship Eternal Witness," a voice said through the pod's speakers. It sounded like wind chimes in winter frost. "You are being recovered under concorded emergency protocols. Do not resist." Maya's face went pale. "Jake, the Velari have sensor technology that makes ours look like stone tools. If they scanned the Valiant before it exploded, then we tell them the truth. They'll execute me. Concordat law forbids stellar weaponization. The penalty is immediate death." The pods were pulled into the Velari ship's hangar, doors sealed behind them. When the hatches opened, Jake saw them. Velari were tall, almost translucent, their bodies shifting with internal light. 6 of them stood waiting, all held weapons that hummed with barely contained energy. Arbiter Kellenth stepped forward. Its face was angular, beautiful in an alien way that made Jake uncomfortable. "Captain Morrison, Lieutenant Chen, you will come with us. Your crew will be transferred to human medical facilities." "Where are you taking us?" Jake demanded. "To answer for your crimes." They were separated immediately. Jake fought, but the Velari guards moved like liquid. He watched Maya being led down a different corridor, her head held high, and then she was gone. The interrogation room was white, painfully white. Every surface gleamed. Arbiter Kellenth sat across from Jake at a table that seemed to grow from the floor. "You witnessed Lieutenant Chen construct a stellar ignition device," Kellenth said. "Not a question." "Yes, she threatened the Kragath homeworld with total annihilation. Yes, 12 billion sentient beings held hostage for one life. Yours. Yes." Kellenth's internal light pulsed. "The Concordat has observed 17,000 civilizations over 4 million years. We have seen weapons that could shatter planets, diseases that could sterilize galaxies. But stellar cascade ignition is forbidden because it represents something worse than destruction. It represents the willingness to murder stars themselves, to kill the very light of creation." "She didn't use it," Jake said, "because the Kragath retreated. If they had not," Jake met the Arbiter's crystalline eyes, "then billions would be dead, and it would be my fault for not stopping her." "You believe you could have stopped her?" "No. But I should have tried." Kalen studied him for a long moment. "Humanity is young, aggressive, emotional. We have watched you spread through space like wildfire. We debate constantly whether your species should be contained before you become a threat to all life." The Arbiter stood. "Today, Lieutenant Chen gave us our answer. She is proof that humans are too dangerous to exist freely. She's one person. She is human nature distilled. Love twisted into weapon, devotion turned to madness. If one of you can threaten genocide for personal attachment, what will your entire species do when sufficiently motivated?" The door opened. 2 guards entered. "Lieutenant Chen will be executed within the hour," Kellenth said. "You will witness it. Then you will return to your people and tell them what happens when humans forget their place in the cosmic order." They dragged Jake through corridors that all looked the same. His mind raced. Maya had saved him, saved the fleet. Yes, she'd built something horrific, but she'd also prevented the Kragath from wiping out humanity's Proxima holdings. That had to count for something. The execution chamber was circular. Maya stood in the center, surrounded by a ring of Velari observers. She looked small, fragile. When she saw Jake, her expression softened. "It's okay," she called out. "I knew this was coming." "No," Jake shouted. "You can't do this. She's protected under human law. We have jurisdiction. Your law does not apply to crimes against the natural order, Kalenth said. The weapon she created threatens all life. The punishment is absolute. A device descended from the ceiling. It looked like a flower made of light and death. Maya smiled at Jake. Actually smiled. I meant what I said. Every word. If you die, I burn the galaxy. Remember that. Maya, please. The device activated. And then the Volari ship exploded. Not the execution chamber. The entire vessel. Jake felt the shock wave before he heard the sound. The floor buckled. The crystalline walls cracked. Emergency systems screamed. Through the fracturing ceiling, Jake saw impossible stars in the black of space rushing in. Something had hit them. Hard. Arbiter Kellen staggered, its light flickering. Impossible. Our shields. A new ship appeared in the breach. Human design, but wrong. Experimental. Covered in weapons that shouldn't exist yet. The hull was marked with a symbol Jake recognized from classified briefings he'd thought were just paranoid fantasy. The Darwin Initiative, humanity's Black Ops division. The ones who operated outside law, outside morality, outside everything. A single figure descended through the breach on thrusters. Power armor. Experimental. The faceplate retracted. Commander Lisa Grant. Jake knew her by reputation only. The woman who'd burned 3 alien embassies to recover a single human hostage. The woman High Command officially disavowed while secretly funding her operations. She landed between Maya and the execution device. Chen's coming with me, Grant said calmly. Anyone objects, you can join your ship in pieces. Arbiter Kalenth raised one translucent hand. The remaining Volari guards leveled their weapons at Grant. 30 energy rifles against 1 human in power armor. Grant didn't move, didn't flinch. You have 5 seconds to reconsider, she said. You dare attack a Concordat vessel? Kalenth's voice shook with rage. This is an act of war against every civilized species in the galaxy. 4 seconds? Jake tried to stand, but the guards nearest him forced him down. Maya remained frozen in the execution circle, her eyes wide as she watched Grant. The Darwin Initiative has no authority here, Kalenth continued. Your own government will disavow this action. You will be hunted across. 2 seconds. The Arbiter's internal light flared bright. Fire. 30 energy beams lanced toward Grant simultaneously. The power armor shields flashed once, twice, then shattered. The beams should have cut through her like paper. Instead, they curved around her in impossible arcs and struck the Volari guards who'd fired them. Bodies dropped. The smell of burned flesh filled the air. Jake's mind couldn't process what he'd just seen. That wasn't shield technology. That was something else entirely. Grant moved. Fast. Inhumanly fast. She crossed the execution chamber in 2 strides, grabbed Maya by the arm, and threw her toward Jake. Maya tumbled across the floor and crashed into him. Stay down, Grant snapped. Kalenth backpedaled. What are you? That's not possible. Human technology can't. You're right. It can't. Grant's armor split open down the back. She stepped out of it like shedding skin. Underneath, her body was covered in patterns that glowed with the same internal light as the Volari. Surgical scars crisscrossed her skin. Implants bulged beneath the surface. Jake felt Maya grip his arm hard enough to bruise. You butchered yourself, Kalenth whispered. You implanted Volari biotechnology. That's forbidden. Sacred. Our biology is not for lesser species too. Bed? Lesser? Grant laughed. It was a cold sound. You've been calling us lesser for 200 years, refusing to share technology. Refusing to trade, sitting on your crystalline thrones and judging everyone else, while humans die because we don't have access to your medical advances. She touched her chest where the largest implant sat beneath her sternum. So we took what you wouldn't give. We studied the Volari bodies from the Epsilon crash. We learned, we adapted, we evolved. That crash was 70 years ago. The remains were sealed under Concordat protection. Were sealed. Past tense. Grant smiled. Turns out your sacred biology works real nice in human bodies. Better even. More aggressive, more adaptable. Want to see what else we learned? Her hand moved in a blur. Energy erupted from her palm. not a weapon. Her actual palm. The beam punched through Kellenth's chest and out the other side. The Arbiter collapsed, light fading from its body. The remaining Volari in the chamber screamed. Some ran. Others raised weapons. Grant killed them all in under 10 seconds. She moved like water, like lightning, like nothing Jake had ever seen a human do. When it was over, she stood among the bodies, breathing hard. The glow beneath her skin pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "We need to move," she said. "This ship has 30 seconds before complete structural failure." Maya found her voice. "You came for me. Why? Because you built something we need. Because you're the only person alive who can recreate stellar ignition theory. And because the Darwin Initiative doesn't leave assets behind." Grant grabbed her discarded power armor and slapped a control on the wrist. "Extraction team, 3 to recover. 30 seconds.
A transport burst through the damaged hull.
More Darwin operatives. They moved with the same inhuman speed as Grant. Jake realized with growing horror that they all had the implants. All of them glowed from the inside. They grabbed Jake and Maya and hauled them toward the transport. Jake looked back at the execution chamber, at the dead Volari, at Arbiter Kellenth's fading body. "You just started a war," he said. "No," Grant replied as they boarded the transport. "We just finished one humanity didn't know it was fighting." The transport launched. Behind them, the Valeri ship finally broke apart completely. Debris scattered across the void. Any evidence of what happened here would be lost in the wreckage. The Darwin Initiative ship was waiting. It was massive. Twice the size of any human vessel Jake had seen. Weapons covered every surface. As they docked, Jake saw hundreds of crew members moving through the corridors, all enhanced, all glowing. Grant led them to a briefing room. She sealed the door and gestured for them to sit. "Here's the situation," she said. "The Volari Concordat has been suppressing human advancement for 2 centuries, blocking our technology development, sabotaging our diplomatic relations with other species, ensuring we stay weak and dependent. They do it to everyone. Keep the younger races fighting each other while they maintain control." "That's a conspiracy theory," Maya said. "The Concordat is neutral. They've never interfered. They interfere constantly. They just do it quietly." Grant pulled up holographic displays. "Communications. Battle records. The Krajef attack on Proxima, coordinated with Concordat approval. They wanted to test human military response, see if we'd developed anything that threatened their supremacy." Jake stared at the data. It looked genuine, detailed, terrifying. "You're saying they orchestrated a war that killed thousands of humans just to test us?" "I'm saying they've done it 17 times in the last century. Different enemies, different battlefields, same purpose."
Grant's expression hardened.
"And when you, Lieutenant Chen, built something that actually scared them, they decided humanity had become too dangerous to tolerate. They were going to execute you as a message. Make an example. Show every human scientist what happens when you get too creative." Maya stood. "So you rescued me to what? Build more weapons? Turn me into one of your experiments?" "I rescued you because you deserve to live. Because what you created proves humans can compete with ancient species on their own terms. And yes, because we need that weapon." Grant met her eyes. "The Concordat is planning something. Something big. We've intercepted communications. Coded. They're gathering their fleet. Every ship, every resource. We think they're preparing to sterilize Earth." The words hung in the air like poison. "You're insane," Jake said. The Valeri have done it before, 43 times across 4 million years. Whenever a species gets too advanced too fast, they eliminate the threat. They call it cosmic gardening, pruning the dangerous growth before it spreads. Grant pulled up more files, images of dead worlds, burned atmospheres, planets reduced to glass. "We have 6 months," she said quietly, "maybe less, before they decide humanity's time is over." She looked at Maya. "So yes, I need you to rebuild that weapon. I need you to teach us how to fight stars themselves, because that's the only thing that might make them hesitate, the only thing that might save our entire species from extinction." Maya's hands trembled. "If I do this, if I help you weaponize stellar ignition, I become exactly what they said I am, a monster. A threat to all life. You become our only hope, Grant said. Your choice. Maya walked to the viewport. Beyond the reinforced glass, stars burned cold and indifferent. Jake watched her shoulders rise and fall with each breath. He knew that look. She was doing calculations in her head. Running scenarios, weighing impossible choices. Show me your evidence, Maya said finally. Everything. I want to see the intercepted communications, the historical records, all of it. Grant nodded and activated his secure terminal. Data flooded the screens. Jake moved closer to read it. His training and tactical analysis kicked in automatically. Fleet movements, supply requisitions, energy signatures that matched Valari weapons platforms being moved into position around human space. It looked real, too detailed to be fabricated, too consistent across multiple sources. This intelligence came from where exactly? Jake asked. We have people inside Concordat facilities, humans who've been enhanced enough to pass as other species, deep cover operatives who've been in place for decades. Grant pulled up personnel files. Faces appeared. Human faces with alien modifications. They've sacrificed everything to get us this information. 3 of them died just last month when Concordat security discovered anomalies in the Valari biological database. Maya turned from the viewport. The modifications you've given yourselves. The implants. How stable are they? Stable enough. We lose about 20% of candidates during integration. Another 10% within the first year from rejection complications. 30% fatality rate, and you call that stable? Better than 100% when the Valari come to burn our homeworld. Grant's voice stayed level. Every person in this program volunteered. They knew the risks. They chose to become something new so humanity might survive. Jake felt sick. The math was brutal. Sacrifice the few to potentially save billions. Military logic. The kind of thinking that kept him awake at night. You said you need 6 months, Maya said. To do what? Build a weapon? Fortify Earth's defenses? To build an arsenal? Multiple stellar ignition devices placed around Valari space? Dead man's switches. If they attack us, we take their stars. Mutually assured destruction. Grant met Maya's eyes. I need you to make it possible. You're the only one who solved the cascade equations. Our scientists have been trying for 3 years. They can't make it work. Because the math is insane, Maya said quietly. It requires quantum calculations that shouldn't be possible with human neurology. I could only solve it because I don't sleep normally. I have a condition. My brain processes information during REM cycles differently. It's not replicable. Then you'll have to build them yourself. We'll give you whatever resources you need. Unlimited budget, personnel, facilities. Maya laughed. It sounded broken. You want me to build doomsday devices? Multiple doomsday devices, aimed at the oldest civilization in the galaxy. All based on intelligence from sources I can't verify and technology that kills 1 in 3 people who try to use it. Yes. And if I refuse? Grant's expression didn't change. Then we try to build it without you. Probably fail. And when the Valari come, humanity ends. Your choice, but the timeline doesn't care about your moral comfort. Jake stepped between them. Enough. Maya's been through hell today. She needs rest, medical attention. Not an interrogation and a recruitment pitch. We don't have time for make time. Jake's command voice cut through the room. Years of leading crews under fire gave his words weight. You rescued us from execution. Thank you, truly. But if you want her cooperation, you treat her like a human being, not a tool. Grant studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Medical Bay is on deck 7. Food services on deck 9. You'll both be assigned quarters. Rest. Recover. We'll talk again in 12 hours. She moved toward the door, then paused. Captain Morrison, the Valari were going to execute Lieutenant Chen and send you home as a witness. A warning. You would have lived while she died. Does that change how you feel about what we're doing here? Jake felt Maya's eyes on him. It changes nothing, he said. I don't make decisions based on revenge. Then you're a better person than me. Grant left. The door sealed. Jake and Maya stood alone in the briefing room. The holographic display still showed dead worlds and fleet movements and terrible choices. Do you believe her? Maya asked quietly. I don't know. The evidence looks credible, but evidence can be manufactured. Context can be twisted. Jake ran his hands through his hair. What I do know is that you built something today that scared an ancient civilization badly enough to sentence you to immediate execution. That part's real. I watched it happen. So maybe Grant's right. Maybe they do see us as a threat worth eliminating. Or maybe they see uncontrolled weapons development as dangerous regardless of intent. Which it is. Maya moved to the terminal and started examining the data more carefully. Her fingers flew across the controls. Jake recognized her focus. She was checking the math, validating the intelligence against known physics and tactical patterns. The fleet positioning is wrong, she said, after 10 minutes. Wrong how? If the Volari were preparing to sterilize Earth, they'd need to account for our defensive satellites. The moon bases, Mars colony support ships. This formation leaves gaps, big ones. Either their tactical planning is incompetent, which seems unlikely for a 4-million-year-old civilization, or this intelligence is incomplete, or intentionally misleading, Jake said. Grant could be lying, using partial truths to manipulate us into building weapons for her own purposes. Or the Velari could be hiding their real attack formation until the last moment. They looked at each other. The uncertainty sat between them like a living thing. I need to contact High Command, Jake said. Report what happened. Get official guidance. We're in Darwin Initiative territory now. Off the books. Beyond normal chain of command. Then we find a way off this ship. Maya shook her head. Even if we could, where would we go? The Valiant is destroyed. Our crew is scattered. And the Volari Concordat definitely wants me dead now. Grant killed an arbiter. That's an act of war whether we participate or not. So we're trapped. We're survivors making choices with incomplete information. Same as always. Maya pulled up the stellar ignition schematic she'd memorized. If I rebuild this weapon, people will die. Maybe billions. If I don't, and Grant is telling the truth, billions die anyway. If I do nothing, I guarantee my own death, because someone will eventually force the issue. You're not seriously considering helping them. I'm considering all the options, including the ones that make me sick to think about. She turned to face him fully. Jake, when that Kragith was killing you, I didn't hesitate. I didn't debate ethics. I built a weapon that could murder stars and I threatened to use it